In 2012, my autistic son Kai was 3. He was nonverbal. He hit his head on the floor, on the walls, and on my face. He had very little interest in other kids or toys or playgrounds. And he had sensory challenges so that even a lukewarm French fry felt scalding hot. And just plain daylight could hurt his eyes to the point of screaming. The whole world just seemed to be too much for little Kai. And in response, he hit and kicked. He scratched and bit. He screamed and he ran. And I would take him to playgrounds, but he would run away from them. And I would chase him. But out of the corner of my eye, I could see other mothers on their blankets with their children eating strawberries out of little stainless steel picnic containers. But meanwhile, Kai and I were in a dead sprint in the other direction to go find our favorite large green electrical box so that we could crouch behind it and pick at the stickers. And it just became clear that we were both living in the world and in exile from it. Kai's behavior therapist said it was really important for Kai to find one friend. One friend can tether us to the universe, can teach us, can guide us out of our darkness better than anything else can. That one friend was hard for kicking, screaming Kai to come by. And as his exhausted, panicked, sometimes publicly weeping, occasionally day drinking mom, I really wasn't that one friend material myself. We would spend our days just kind of surviving. It was hard to stay home. It was hard to find a single place to be. And then in the evening, when Kai went to sleep, I would stay up and I'd be researching these books and blogs, these biomedical protocols, supplements, therapies. It was no stone unturned. I thought, if any one of these stones could ease his symptoms and his suffering, even just 1%, it was worth trying. And then I had this idea that maybe I could get 100 of these 1% stones, and I could set them out, and I could use them as stepping stones to walk from exile back into the world. Well, a lot of people try a lot of the things that we tried, and it doesn't seem to ease the symptoms of their kids' suffering. But in our case, Kai stopped hitting his head on stuff. And he even started to talk. At first it was just, bah. And then after about a month of intensive speech therapy, he might say, bat. But it was slow and steady progress. And I looked at this kid and I thought, he's going to say an independent sentence one day. And when he does, what is this tortured soul going to say? Well, he did it. He was about 4.5. He kind of waddled out of the bathroom. He had his underpants around his ankles. He had an empty brown cardboard toilet paper tube to his mouth. And he said, "Attention, attention, Mom and Dad, we're out of toilet paper." Yeah. So, this is very encouraging, right? So I added more supplements, more therapists, more specialists, just kept piling it on. And eventually I took the spreadsheets of everything that I had tried to the head of developmental pediatrics at UVA. And this gentleman looked through this list and he said, "You're doing everything that I would tell you to do." Of the rest of this, some of it is backed by science. Some of it is in promising trials. Some of it is not. But you are a mom. You cannot wait for science. Kai kept making that steady, slow progress. He was still easily overwhelmed. He was still years behind his peers. And he still didn't have that one friend. And then one day, we were in dead stop traffic. Kai was in his car seat straitjacket behind me, just wailing. I was in the front seat, just kind of weeping into my steering wheel. This is kind of how we like to spend time back then. And so, it was just sort of a cage of misery. And right through the middle of it, my right hand just shot right through and said, "Hey, you know who hates traffic, don't you? Me." And Kai stopped screaming. So I was like, "Oh, hey, what's your name?" My name is Sammy. I am a spirit snake who hates traffic. And I was like, oh, hey, Sammy. Well, I'm Mom. That's Kai. Ooh, hey, Kai. You know, I am, as they say, in the market for a new best friend. I am wondering if you might consider being my new best friend. And from the back, I heard, okay. From Kai, who was 5 and had never had a friend. And then Sammy did something kind of unusual. He said, roll the window down, Mom. And I did, because, you pretty much want to do whatever spirit snake tells you to do. But, I'm driving a car, and now I've got this snake, and he's screaming, hey, traffic! I just got a new best friend named Kai! What are you gonna do about it? I looked in the rear view. Kai was all about this. And Sammy really was Kai's best friend because he knew that Kai really needed this obsessed mom turning over every weird little 1% stone. But he also needed one friend. He needed somebody to just get right up next to him in his darkness and love him from there, totally and loudly. He just needed someone who was utterly incapable of seeing a single thing wrong with him or the situation or life in general. And sometimes I would be out in the world. Kai went to kindergarten. He was 6, and it was all set up. He had all these therapists. He had a full-time aide dedicated just to him. But still, about every other week, I would get this phone call from the school that they just couldn't handle him, and I had to come and pick him up. So I get back in my truck, and I'm driving, and I'm thinking about all these people, these dedicated professionals. I really couldn't think more highly of them. But on the other hand, I was thinking, what do you mean you can't handle this? There's 9 of you, and what makes you think I can handle this? I can't handle this. I'm a complete disaster. And I'd pull up to that school, and I'd just lean in and just be like, who can handle this? No one can handle this. Who can handle this? No one. What is this thing, Mom, that no one can handle? So yeah, that's pretty much what it came down to. Just me sitting in my truck by myself, talking to my hand. I just want to know if this is going to turn out okay. You know it is, Mom. I mean, it is never going to be normal. Yeah. But when in your life have you ever been interested in normal? Spirit Snake had a point. But that means that exile's not this foreign country that I've got to walk out of. It's my homeland. True. Yeah, it's crowded out here. Sure is. God, I'm just so bad at this. I have never been so bad at anything in my life. Yeah, well, I mean, good, bad. Might you be beyond good and bad at this point, Mom? Yeah, I guess I am. So what should I do? Go get our boy. Yeah, I think I can do that. I know you can, said my hand. Shortly after Sammy showed up, Kai made a real human friend, a little kid named Ian. They liked to click train tracks together all afternoon. I made a friend, another mom, navigating challenges with her own kid. We'd take long walks together. Sometimes we'd cry. Mostly we'd just giggle our faces off, though, and we certainly tethered each other to the universe and guided each other out of our darknesses. And now, Kai is 10. He talks, sometimes nonstop. He sings a little, plays the trumpet, trains in martial arts. It's not normal. The kid's hilarious. And he can be willful and insightful, but he's known, and he's loved, and he's loving, and he's finding his way around exile, like many of us. He still talks to Sammy a couple times a week. You know what he really likes to do? More than anything? He likes to play on playgrounds for hours and hours, with kids and toys, in the brightest sunshine. Thank you.